Hello, good morning, welcome everyone. It's a beautiful spring day. Repurpose, resurface, refresh. Spring cleaning typically is recognized, believe it or not, during the last week of March into the beginning of April. And so today I'm going to repurpose and refresh something that I found as I'm doing my spring cleaning. So I'm repurposing a 20 by 20 gallery canvas, which I sanded down. It had previous pour on it that I did not care for, so sanded it down to get a smooth finish. I found this basket and I thought, let me see if I can do something with it. So I'm going to try it and we'll see what happens. I'll be using a 3-section silicone cup with this, putting down Mars a Black by Nick Pro, which is a ready pour, so I did not mix anything into it. I'll be using that as a pillow. And then I had some leftover paints, and I'm thinking, why not repurpose? So here I've combined the leftover paints that I had, the tallow blue, some sky blue, some icy blue, and some cerulean. And so I mixed those all together, and it has this beautiful sky blue, icy, rich hue to it, and I'm really liking it. It is mixed with Flutrol and some water, and I think it's perfect. And then I had some mauve and blacks and browns and purples, and I combined them all together. And it has this purple mauve sort of color to it. I'm hoping it works out here. I do need to thin it out just a little bit. It is rather thick. It's been sitting for a bit. And I'm hoping these leftovers work well as I'm doing my spring cleaning and repurposing some of that paint and the canvas, a bread basket. Not usually taken on a picnic, but then again, why not? As I said, as I'm doing my cleaning, I ran across these baskets, and I said, I think I have too many of these little red baskets that I had bought, I guess, quite a bit ago. It said that for every one item you bring into your home, you should throw one out or two out. I think yeah, bring one in, throw two out. I try to keep up with that. Doesn't always work, but I don't know. Anyway, spring cleaning, and I'm repurposing, resurfacing, refreshing, getting ready for spring. It's getting warmer. I'm thinking this weekend will be 60s, 70s, and who doesn't like that? Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Really appreciate all the support. I want to get busy doing this with less chatter today because my paints tend to develop a film when I get distracted. So let me just take you through the process before I begin. I'll be putting down the pillow, as I said, that Jet Mars Black on here, and then I'll be pouring uh, the um, the paints from the 3-section silicone cup on the basket and hoping that they just flow onto the canvas, and then I will more than likely be tilting this. So let's see where this takes us. I will also, which I had don't think I had mentioned it, be using a cloud mixture which I made with equal parts of satin enamel, soft white bodied paint, GAC 800, Liquitex, and some Floetrol, and I'll be adding that to this as well, hoping to get some cloud mixtures and perhaps cells, fingerlings. Those are always very pretty. So I'm hoping it works out. So let's go. covering my canvas with that black. I'm noticing that where the cloud paint had dropped, it's forming some real pretty fingerlings and cloud-like structures. So I may actually add a little bit more just to kick it up a little bit. And we'll see how it goes. Again, just repurposing, refreshing a canvas. And this is the first time I'm actually doing this reusing of a canvas. And I've sanded it down a couple of times, so I'm hoping it works. I'm going to actually add a little bit of this cloud. I don't know if it'll make a difference, but we'll see. It's always interesting to try something new. As I said, I ran across this bread basket, plastic bread basket. Might have gotten it on Amazon or the dollar store, I'm not sure. But why not experiment and just think out of the box? So I'm hoping again that this works out. Thank you for joining me. What I think I'm going to do is layer another cup to just go around the outer part of this, just to bring in some more of that color and get rid of that excess paint. Let this sit for a little bit, and I'm going to go around here with this layered cup, again using the same colors, a little bit of cloud pour in between, and I did add some titanium white that had been mixed with Flutrol and water, and it's usually about 1 part paint to 4 parts Flutrol and then water to get it to that consistency. I'm not really sure if this is going to work out. It looks a little muddy right now, but we'll see as it continues to do its thing. lift the basket up. Not quite what I expected. I'm not sure if tilting will make a difference here. I do need to add some more black. May deconstruct it a little bit, just adding a little bit of black. Putting in some of that cloud pour. I'm going to wreck it. I think it's kind of already wrecked a little bit, but again, we may be surprised. Just repurposing, refreshing this canvas. I'm not sure if it will work out. Let's see. Go in and wreck it a little bit more. Just using a skewer. and tilt it a little bit more, there is still an awful lot of paint in the center of this. Don't know what will happen as I continue to tilt, but we're going to find out together. found that by just laying the skewer down, there's enough paint in there where if I just drag it and then pull it through, it creates these leafy effects, and I'm really liking that. So let's go. You in for a close-up. Let me know what you think. Comments are always welcome. I appreciate those. They help me on my journey continue to grow. Again, just repurposing, resurfacing, refreshing. Let me know what you think. Beautiful cells and lacing, and I think that as it continues to dry and the canvas absorbs that paint, some of the cloud effects and fingerlings will probably appear. So it has this paisley, whimsical, leafy effect to it. I hope you enjoy today. Thank you so much for joining me on my journey. Be good to one another and yourselves.